You are welcome to our channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you like, give us your thumbs up. In the news today, Adams Oshiomhole is speaking about his regret when it comes to trusting as regards his role in bringing Obaseki to power in 2016. Oshiomhole's regret, how trust turned to betrayal. Adams Oshiomhole, former governor of Edo State, has openly expressed regret over supporting Governor Godwin Obaseki as his successor in the 2016 gubernatorial election. In a candid interview with Independent TV, Oshiomhole admitted that endorsing Obaseki was a mistake, despite initially believing he was the right person to continue his administration's policies. Oshiomhole explained that Obaseki's 8 years in his government led him to trust his abilities, but the reality turned out differently. He likened his situation to a driver entrusting his apprentice with the steering wheel, only to discover the apprentice lacked the necessary competence to lead. Oshiomhole publicly apologized for his role in Obaseki's rise to power, stating that his endorsement was based on trust and past working relationships. However, governance proved to be a different challenge altogether. Despite their political fallout, Obaseki secured a second term, defeating Oshiomhole's party and All Progressive Congress. Oshiomhole denied allegations of attempting to manipulate election results, emphasizing his belief in free and fair elections. He criticized Obaseki's leadership style, accusing him of relying on ethnic sentiments and divisive tactics to retain power. The former governor's admission has reignited conversations about Edo State political history and the dynamics that led to the fallout between him and Obaseki. Many believe that the rift between the two played a significant role in shaping Edo's political landscape, particularly in the last two election cycles. As Edo State moves forward, analysts are watching closely to see how these past events will influence future elections and whether Oshiomhole's influence will continue to shape the state's political direction. Well, it is good sometimes like this to retrospect and reflect on some actions and inactions of one that what one might have done politically. And in this case, in Edo State, former Governor Adams Oshiomhole, now a senator, is the one talking in this regard, looking at what he saw that made him to regret the trust in Obaseki. For example, Obaseki, he was said to have been working with him for 8 years, and after the 8 years, he felt that he would have learnt the rope, understand how to go about the job. Then he gets the job done. But it's a pity that governance is not only about learning the rope alone, your own personal language, your prowess, and your own ability to lead. The inborn leadership trait is very essential. Though we are hearing the Oshiomhole side of the story, who happens to be the boss that is trying to bring in his own, subordinate into office. But then you look at it from what he's saying, of course, that those things are not enough. You can't just say you want to groom somebody if the person is not politically prepared, is not mentally prepared. It's as if the person doesn't even have the ambition. Of course, you are bound to be at loggerhead at the end of the day. But then we are not really allowed the singular fact that Obaseki has his own mind too. He might even has his own ambition when he was working under Oshiomhole. But because of the way power is these days, you have to keep quiet, you keep your vision in order not to cause your own head to be chopped off in politics. And then, as regards of it, the patience and the quietness eventually paid off for Obaseki. He came to power and he felt that okay, whatever his boss or his predecessor might have been doing that happened not to be right, he can begin to make them right. All those wrong stuffs, he can then begin to right them. Then that might not really go along, go well with what Oshiomhole has in store, because of course governance is a continuum. He might eventually want Obaseki to continue from where he stopped, and in the process of Obaseki adding one or two things to it different from what the vision of his predecessor might have been the cause of the rift. But if we take it on face value, as this man is talking about trust that is being turned to betrayal within 4 years, Oshiomhole, who endorsed this man 4 years earlier, is now saying the man is no more the candidate wanting to change him, but well, as fate will have it, the man came in again the second time. What do we say to that? Number one, the people want the man to be in office and he's still in office the second time. That's the way we look at it. Well, from the opposition point of view, they might say the man might decide to rig it and all stuff. But then we know that whether you rig it or not, people's will sometimes will surely come to pass, especially when the will is a general one that even the umpire himself want to make sure that the vote of the people counts. Well, we saw an Obaseki coming in and winning the election, and that is showing us to a large extent that he might have betrayed his erstwhile boss, but it seems as if the people are happy with him and they have decided to joyfully give him another opportunity to serve for a second term, which at the end of the day probably paid off for him and also for the state. We don't know, but from what we are seeing, of course, 8 years after the whole situation and the power is changing to another party and things are going in a different direction. But then the need for trust, the need for betrayal not to continue in governance is very, very important, very, very essential, because whenever such things are coming to bear, it might at the end of the day be the people that is going to suffer for it. Yes, Oshiomhole admitted that he had made a mistake by endorsing Obaseki because he believed he was right as the ab initio. But then at the end of the day now, is publicly apologizing for his role in bringing Obaseki to power. What does that imply? Does it mean that Obaseki did not work well for the people? We find it difficult to believe because the people still give him a second term to use in office. So, but then he could learn a lesson that governance has proved to be different challenge altogether. Not the way you see, not the way you want it. When somebody sits in power, the political scientists people say power corrupts, absolute power. It corrupts absolutely. And in the process of making sure that Obaseki didn't come back to power, they were accusing Oshiomhole of trying to also manipulate or attempt to manipulate election. But he denied the allegation and he emphasized his belief in free and fair election. But then he criticized Obaseki's leadership lifestyle and also accusing him of relying on ethnic sentiments and divisive tactics to retain power. Whichever way, the man retained power. The people want him to be there. And today, well, it is Edo State people that can say whether they have played well for it or they are suffering for it. So we're hoping and praying for progress in the state in nearest future. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you like. Thank you for watching.